Hey everybody. So today, my future, your present, we're going to be learning You Got to Walk That Lonesome Valley as played by Mississippi John Hurt in a live performance video that I will link below. It is on YouTube. So the tab will be included in the video, but if you want a PDF of it, or you just really feel like supporting me, you can do that through my Patreon, or get it, do it, whatever. That's how it works. So I'm going to play through this, then we'll talk about it. Yeah. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2. You got to walk that lonesome valley. You got to walk it for yourself. Ain't nobody's gonna walk it for you. You got to walk that valley for yourself. Okay. Getting some weird buzzing here. I'm gonna have to check that out. Okay. So that's essentially the tune here. So let's talk quickly about the finger picking, and then we'll talk a little bit about the form and stuff. So I've done a more thorough talking about finger picking in my freight train video. So if you want to hear some different variations and stuff like that, you can check that out in my freight train video. I'll link that below. But this is kind of a thumb-led style. It's kind of an old-timey bluesy style where the thumb is just constantly going on the quarter notes. So that's the big thing. Mississippi John Hurt does this with the 2 fingers in the thumb. So sometimes we say a 3-finger style like this. And kind of plants 1 finger down here. That's how I'm playing it as well. This is how I'll often do this sort of thing. If you feel comfortable or you're used to doing it with a 1-finger style, that is possible with this tune. You can also do it kind of the more classical style if you feel comfortable. I think that's totally fine to do it that way, but I definitely recommend this kind of 3-finger style. Or if you're really wanting the like flat-picked hybrid style, you could do that as well, but this is how I'm doing it. So, just one thing you want to remember, your thumb is just constantly going. We have this kind of melody or bass line that the thumb is doing and groove, and the rest is mostly the melody that we have, right? Right, we have this, which is what I'm singing, and then you have the bass line with it. It's a little phrased differently, but that's okay. There's these little call and response things that are really cool. It's kind of my favorite part of this tune. You know, you have this, you got to walk that lonesome valley. Just where you're kind of responding to the melody. So there's actually kind of this secondary melody that's in there. Okay, now talking about the form. So I'll put the chords up of what I would say this is, but he's not playing the chords. He's following the melody. Even when he sings, he's not playing the chords. He plays the melody again. You got to walk that lonesome valley. So he's following this melody along in octaves. He's getting this G note here, when we're at G, and when he moves up to A, we get an A note by just moving the shape up. And when we get to B, we're moving it up to this B note. So he's not really acknowledging the chords. Now, if you were playing this with a group of people and you wanted to have solos, or you just wanted to jam it and you wanted to know the chords so more people could play along, I would probably say the most common chords for this would be just G and D. You got to walk G, that lonesome valley. Then you gotta decode it for your back to G, and then another G for 4 bars, something, 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 something else. Last 4 bars would go G, then D, and then a G. But it sounds way more kind of, I don't know, standard like country when you do it that way. So I find this arrangement much, much nicer. Okay, so I think that's all I want to mention right before we jump into the playing through this. I will say that if you're not used to this kind of thumb-led sort of thing, there's little exercises you can do. Like, one thing I used to always do is I would take this line of like, okay, so my thumb is going here, and I would just try to take melody notes, even if it was just like, just a G note and an E note. So if I had a melody of G, E, G, E. And I would sit there and can I do them both together? So I got this, and then I'm gonna go G, E, G, E, G, E. Okay, I can do that. Maybe I'll change the rhythm of that. Maybe I'll go G, E, G, E, G, E, G, E, G, E, G, E. That's tougher now because I'm getting this note in between. But I really think that sort of just experimenting and investigating with this can make this style a lot more internalized, where you're not just thinking, okay, these two notes at the same time, then your thumb, then your finger. You really want to have this as, okay, well, the thumb is going and doing its thing, and then we have this little melody over top that we can kind of think about and follow. And that takes a little bit, but learning tunes like this and doing your own kind of experimenting really helps. All right, and now the tabs. So let's put just a little pickup here. We got this. That's our first bit. Into the next line, right? Just a walk. You got to walk. Okay, here we go. The first line now. Okay, now, I guess I didn't mention this before, I wish I had. We are basically just doing one shape here this whole time. We have this G chord, and we're holding it with our third and our pinky, and that's kind of important. You could do it maybe with the middle and the pinky, but it makes it very hard to get this first finger because we need the middle finger to get some notes and we need the first finger to get some notes. So it's kind of like, normally when you play in the key of C, you get the G chord like this, or often you do. So it's kind of like that, but really it's the third finger on the third fret, first string, sixth string, and the pinky on the third fret, first string. And we actually just move this shape up. It's here at G, we move it up 2 frets to an A, and we move it up 2 frets to a B. So that's mostly what we're doing. And then we have the middle finger and first finger doing a couple things. So as we go through this, we have this little line, right? And that's kind of a cool little pickup. You could even practice that first bar without the middle finger in there. Right? And I'm getting my first finger. Essentially what's happening here is my first finger is going to hit all of the second and third strings, and my middle finger is only going to hit that first string when it comes up. Okay, then the second bar comes. We have this extra little line, middle finger comes down here on the fifth string. That's also another little like cool line. You could practice that. Essentially the same thing, but your middle finger's on a different string. Okay. Now, the next line is where it gets a little more tough. We take this, we slide it up to 5 and 5. And our first finger is going to come down and hold down this third fret. So we get a little bit of a different shape here. And this is what this sounds like. First finger comes down to get this G note here, and then we do basically the same thing up 2 frets. We slide it up, put the first finger down on 5, back down to 5, and then we get to that G. So let me play that second line. It sounds like this. Now the third line, I'll put it up here, is, I think it's identical to the first. Yeah, exactly the same. Now, the fourth line, the final line, is the toughest one. We slide up here, I start on 5, I think, to slide up here to 7 to this B note. Oops, right, and then I go down to this 5, back up to the 7, 5, 3. So, the toughest part here being that second bar where we're moving quite quick. We go 5, 7, 5, 3. I think that's the one that has to practice most because you really get this hand moving. So this final line again. Now, if you're having a hard time with this, if you find this quite tough, I would say experiment around. Take little chunks of this, right? Even just this like last bar is very useful. And you could even play the song this way. You got to walk that lonesome valley. And then just move it. I gotta walk it for yourself. Ain't nobody else right? Like you just have simplified version stuff. And sometimes doing really simple patterns can really help you get this, because that's essentially what the right hand is doing without that little high melody. Okay, last thing I want to do here is just play through it one time nice and slow so you can play along with it, see the tablature, all that sort of stuff. It sounds like this. 1, 2, 1, 2. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this one. Till next time. Bye.